Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. And Jacques Nienaber has just named his Springbok squad for the upcoming Rugby Championship with the inclusion of two very experienced veterans as well as the omission of two players, two fan favourites. And I think quite a few people will be quite upset by the two that have been released. And there's also been a couple of updates regarding players' medical issues and stuff like that. And we do have a final 41-man squad that will be taking on the likes of New Zealand, Australia, and Argentina during the Rugby Championship, which gets underway 2 weeks today, in fact, with the first test against the All Blacks happening at Mbombela Stadium on the 6th of August. Before we look at the squad, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Now, if we look at the squad, the big news is that Duane Vermeulen as well as Frans Steyn have returned to the side. Duane Vermeulen underwent surgery in June after also knocked out of the URC to sort out, I think it was a relatively minor issue. And Frans Steyn recovered from a hamstring injury, and both these players have come back into the side. Now, what that has meant is that two players have dropped out, and those two players are APHELELE FASSI and MARCELL who will return to their franchises, according to the Springbok release. And it sounds quite brutal on both of them, especially the likes of MARCELL who finally got his sort of his Springbok return, had one game, and has now sort of been sent back for the packing and basically been told that he's not quite in the plan yet. And I think it's, for somebody like for both of them, if they want to be back in World Cup contention, they need to make sure that as soon as obviously they would be the first names on the call-up list for any injuries, but in many ways, now sort of puts them in a tricky situation where they're not probably right now within the final plans of the Rugby World Cup, given the fact that we still need to trim down about 8 players from the squad into the World Cup squad next year. So, interestingly, these two are the players that they have decided to drop, and I can kind of understand. I think APHELELE FASSI had a really struggled in that game that he did play against Wales. And interesting that, Curtly Arendse, for example, really took his opportunity. So I do think, despite the fact that it was only one game, and that whole rotation has obviously given the Boks a lot of answers. Because, for example, Curtly Arendse, a month ago, probably would have been the first name that they would have left out of the squad going into the Rugby Championship, and APHELELE FASSI was definitely ahead of him. However, based on that performance in Bloemfontein, Curtly Arendse seems to have sort of leapfrogged APHELELE FASSI, which is, and I can actually understand it, to be honest. I think just based on the performance, I think Fassi's got a bit of a defensive issue that he needs to sort out. Nobody doubts his ability on the attack, but especially to fit within a Springbok mold, defensively, I think he's going to have to sharpen up a little bit. And Marcel COETZEE, I think that we just have so many loose forwards, and the question is, who would you drop? And I think a lot of people would sort of would probably be calling for the likes of Reinhard Alstad or Deon Fourie to be dropped ahead of Marcel COETZEE, but I think the Bok management see a lot of value in utility players. So, for example, Reinhard Alstad, Deon Fourie, and Franco Mostert are all listed as utility forwards. The likes of Curtly Arendse, Frans Steyn, Damian Willemse, all listed as utility backs. And, utility has always been a very important emphasis when it comes to the Springbok management. So, if you look at the squad, it's a pretty good squad, let's be honest here. And I think people will probably be quite surprised that there isn't potentially, a fly-off cover. Jan Goosen is with the squad, or was with the squad rather. It looks like he is out and running again, but very much not looking to return to playing action until probably sort of second or third week of URC, from the sounds of it, sort of September, October potentially. So might be available for the end of year tour. Cobus Reda, from the sounds of it, is almost back. Apparently he was doing his rehabilitation with the team, so he has been with the squad, but he requires medical clearance from Montpellier before he's available for selection. So I think that he will remain with the squad, and hopefully he will get that clearance and maybe available at some point during the Rugby Championship. But apart from that, this is the squad. It's as I said, Thomas Toy, Stephen Kitshoff, Vincent Carr, Frans Malherbe, Institute Kankunu, Oxenchair, Trevor Nyakane are the props. The three hookers, Joseph Drebe, Malcolm Marks, Bongi Manambi, Loti Yagi, Evan Etzebe, Sal Murat, Ruan Nokia, Marvin Ori. In the locks there, Peter Steph Toy, Sia Khaleesi, Ulrich Lowe, Evan Lewis, Quaka Smith, and Duane Vermeulen, the loose forwards. Then our utility forwards are Reinhard Alstad, Deon Fourie, and Franco Mostert. Scrum Bars, Faf Clerk, Jane Henderson, Hershey Yankees, as well as Grant Williams. So I'm a little bit surprised that they haven't left scrum half behind, for example. In terms of our looking going into the World Cup, for example, that's obviously a place where we could quite easily trim down, even 2 players and only go with 2 scrum halves. And then in the midfield, the big news, Andre Esterhuizen has been retained in the squad. There were quite a lot of worries about whether his hand injury was going to rule him out of the entire Rugby Championship, but he has been retained. And there's actually no mention of him, so one imagines that he's fully fit and all okay. Jesse Creel, who I think at this stage is probably looking quite likely to start against the All Blacks on the 6th of August. And then you've got Billy Maximum Pimpy are the only recognized, and Warriorland, Billy Maximum Pimpy are the only recognized outside backs. And then currently Arendt, Frost, and Damien Williams are very much listed at utility backs. It's a decent squad. As I said, again, I think Marcel COETZEE can feel quite frustrated because I think his URC form was really good. But he's obviously, it is a bit of a case of somebody was going to have to drop out, and he's obviously the one that they deem expendable. And I think he's very much up against the likes of an Alwick Lowe, a Kwagga Smith, a Sia Khaleesi, for his spot. I don't think he's really actually playing really against the likes of a Dion Free, for example, for his spot in the squad. So, given the fact that it is a very stacked squad in certain sort of areas of what people bring to the game, they sort of deem the likes of Evan Lewis and Albert Lowe more valuable to be able to keep them around, obviously, to give them game time than a Marcel COETZEE. If you think it's the right decision, I want to know. Down in the comments below. Please do smash like on the video as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.